90.3 WHPC now presents Law You Should Know. The law affects every aspect of our lives, our home, our jobs, and our recreational activities. Now, learn about the law and how to protect yourself against the loss of your liberty or property, and learn how to stand up for your rights and seek compensation when you have been wronged. Your host for Law You Should Know is attorney Kenneth J. Landau, a past dean of the Nassau Academy of Law, and frequently lectures to lawyers on ethics and avoiding problems with clients, and to the public on how to choose and use lawyers. This is Law You Should Know on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Hi, this is Ken Landau, and welcome to Law You Should Know. Today we'll be talking about how lawyers can promote themselves in the areas of practice, and we'll talk about how other professionals can do that as well, and how that's so important, not just to the lawyers, but to the general public and other professionals who may not be aware of how lawyers can help prevent or solve their legal problems. Our special guest is Amy Delman, and she's has a PR firm, Amy Delman Public Relations, and she's helped many lawyers and other professionals to get their message out to the general public and other groups of professionals. Amy, welcome to Law You Should Know.
Thank you, Ken.
As we start off, just to educate us about what the idea of PR or public relations is.
Public relations is a spoke in the marketing umbrella. It goes along with marketing, advertising, business development. Public relations, though, is a third-party endorsement. It's not you saying how great you are. It's having a news outlet or being on a radio show, a newspaper. The third-party endorsement is the only marketing spoke, the only spoke that builds credibility.
Okay, but I'm also using it in a more general sense as opposed to paid advertising. It gets your name and your message out there, and especially how you as a lawyer or other professional can be a problem solver and a problem preventer, letting the public know about their rights and remedies and pitfalls as the world changes, and giving the public useful information that they can use to get to a better place, perhaps with your help.
Yes, public relations is all about education. It's when a professional comes and explains a situation. Usually it's geared to a very wide audience, so they can talk about anything related, like the law, different types of issues that might come up. You have somebody speak about it. They offer tips. The listeners can learn from them, feel educated, and have a better sense of how they could move forward.
And you're also establishing yourself as an expert, and that you have a lot of valuable information, and you also know about how to resolve these problems or prevent them.
Correct. That is the purpose of getting your name out there, getting yourself out there. Being on the radio and newspaper in a publication positions you as a leader.
And today it might be on the web. It may take on different forms, but you want to be quoted out there. You want to have maybe videos or blogs or websites that give useful information and show the public or the viewer that you're knowledgeable, you're caring, and let them know how you can help them prevent the problem, keep it from getting worse, or at least making the best of a bad situation and moving on. Now, you also help people with media relations, so that's like the next step. And I think you touched on it before. So what are media relations? How do you help people to get media exposure, and what is the media looking for?
Okay, so public relations has to deal with the public. It's increasing your visibility to the public, your future clients, your industry. Media relations is introducing yourself to the media, becoming a go-to media resource. And the way that you do that is you come up with a couple of ideas. Maybe your clients are having issues that you assume that other people out in the world would have those issues, and you pitch yourself. And once you get on a show and become known, the media will turn to you for advice.
So with the pitch, and again, people might be able to do it themselves to some extent, but you can help fine-tune that pitch, and you know who to make that pitch to. But they're saying this is a growing legal problem, or this is going to be a big problem next week. And you want to make your audience aware of it, and this is someone who can talk about it and talk about how to prevent the problem or resolve it should it occur.
Correct. The media always is looking for resources to talk about events that are news breaking events, something that's happening in the news today.
So what are some examples of the news happening today and how a lawyer or other professional can be a commentator or provide background or additional information to the public about those issues?
First of all, if it's a national issue, they have to take the national issue and bring it local, bring it to where they are, and then come up with an angle, tying it to the area the media outlet covers, writing a pitch, offering yourself as a commentator, and let the reporter or producer know that you're available.
And you can help them, fine tune that pitch and help them make that connection. But just give us some examples of what the process might look like. There's going to be a big storm, or there's rumors there won't be enough power. How can a lawyer or other professional get media coverage in that kind of situation?
First things first, that person, the lawyer or other professional, has to be somewhat known, and they have to, it's a process. And they have to go through the initial introduction period of themselves to the media. They just automatically can't write to somebody.
Well, I mean, you're doing it for them. You can say, I know John Doe or Jane Doe, they're an expert about insurance coverage or dealing with public adjusters or getting grants from the state, if there's some unforeseen event at your home.
Okay, let me give you a real life example
Absolutely.
That happened today. Ed Sheeran just won his case on copyright infringement. I represent intellectual property attorneys. I offered them to the media as commentators on what that means. What does it mean for Ed Sheeran? What does it mean for other creatives? And what does it mean for the power of copyrights and what they're worth, their value?
And we can also learn from what's going on in the news to try to prevent. This is the preventive factor of lawyers. To try to prevent what's happening to us. If a client hears about something, it could be a business person or a consumer, you hear about something good or bad, and you want it to happen to you or perhaps not, so you can help them learn about it to see what they need to do to get the benefit of it or to prevent the problem with it down the road.
Right. A large part of my work is to follow trends for each of my clients. I try to stay on top of trends so I could bring a trend immediately to that particular client and say, we need a 3-second soundbite. How can we put it together and get it to the correct person?
And some things are seasonal, the storm season, the real estate season,
Yes.
the bonus season, or the firing season, or the hiring season, or the travel season. I guess there's not a season for auto accidents, but there might be slip and falls. There might be adverse road conditions certain times of the year. So a lawyer or other professional can try to time their pitch to these annual or seasonal events.
Right. And also that pitch, if you're going to time it to seasonal events, you want to pitch in advance of those events. For instance, January is considered the divorce month. So if you are a matrimonial attorney and you want to be quoted on something in early December, you say, I know that January, half of my clients are going to come to me and say the holidays are done, I want a divorce, and offer themselves to give advice to people that are in that situation.
And on a similar note, Valentine's Day, maybe people are thinking, should they be divorced before or after?
Correct.
It's probably not a good idea during. Or maybe they're getting married, or maybe it's the summer wedding season, and maybe they should consider a prenup.
Correct.
Or just revising their estate plan because of it's a second marriage or whatever else the issue is.
Right. And it's not as difficult to find trends that fit the practice areas. It's really not. There's always something going on in the world that can tie into what lawyers do. I mean, let's say they are, as you said, slip and fall. I mean, you always are hearing about people falling in supermarkets. And if you are that type of lawyer and you have the right media connections, you can talk about that. What are the damages? What happens to that person? How do they go around? How do they get involved in protecting themselves and litigation? So there's always a way to give advice.
And also protecting themselves before an adverse event happens with the proper insurance. And many people aren't aware of that. Sometimes they get advice from their lawyers or insurance brokers, but sometimes they did not take that step and they don't have the proper insurance coverage. and it makes it a lot harder to become whole.
Right. Like I represent elder law attorneys, and elder law, their tagline is prepare, not repair. And that means get your estate papers in order. It used to be, before the pandemic, people over the age of 50. Now it's anybody over the age of 18 needs to have a will, needs to have papers, needs to have financial directives. And that is something that they are constantly on the news talking about, cases where a 35-year-old woman had a stroke. She didn't prepare for that. So
of course, COVID, when we emerged from COVID, when people had other related symptoms, and unfortunately it caused many deaths, and many of those people did not prepare, or even if they were unavailable for a while, they did not prepare for that situation. I'd like to remind everyone you're listening to Law You Should Know. We're talking about positive public relations for attorneys and other professionals, and our special guest is Amy Delman. She's a public relations expert, and she's sharing with us the strategies she uses to help professional firms, including lawyers, to promote themselves and convey valuable information to the general public. You're listening to Law You Should Know on 90.3 WHPC, the voice of Nassau Community College. If you missed any portion of the program or you want to tell someone else about it, just go to the website, nccradio.org. So, Amy, what are some other examples that you've helped professionals to convey a message, perhaps a seasonal message, perhaps one related to a calamity, so their client can prevent the worst possible scenario?
Besides crisis public relations, what I do with my clients is I have them constantly give information, bylined articles in trade magazines where their clients will see it. I have them do webinars. I have them give lectures. If you give the information in advance of something happening, because we couldn't foresee COVID. We can't foresee all the things that are going to go wrong. But like I mentioned with my elder law attorneys, if you have a will and you're, 21 years old, and something happens to you and you had listened to that advice, you are already prepared. So my clients give information all the time about ways that the general public can help themselves, have the proper papers, know what situations require legal assistance. A lot of people don't even know, hey, should I even consult a lawyer about this? So the law firms I represent tell, in their interviews, hey, if this happens to you, this is a legal issue. You have been damaged, and you can, sue for reparations. So I think that's the best way. If there's a constant flow of educational information coming out of the law firm, that's the best way to prepare the general public and their own clients.
And it sounds from what you're saying that part of the message is it doesn't cost, but it pays to use a lawyer or other professional to prevent problems or solve problems, especially when they're just a small problem. And maybe the lawyer or other professional can make it go away, or can manage the problem, or maybe in some cases walk away from it to put it in the rearview mirror. If left unattended or you ignore it, it can get worse. It's just like you might go to a doctor if you see something you're concerned about, and a doctor says you don't need to worry about it. You may need to worry down the road, or you need to worry about it, and here's what your options are. We think of it in terms of doctors, but a lawyer, an accountant, an engineer, other professionals can perform those same checkups, if you will.
Right. And it's important to have those checkups because so many times in life, things do happen outside of our control that we don't know how to handle, and we don't know who to turn to help us handle it.
And it's almost like a legal checkup, where you, as you mentioned, the lawyer might look at their estate plan, their different estate documents to see if they're current, up to date, reflect the laws change. So to see if they reflect the current laws, a lawyer could do it with business documents. The field of law is constantly evolving. There are new decisions coming down every day. So the lawyer wants to make sure that these documents reflect the best practices in light of new concerns or, new legal work.
Correct.
You also help lawyers to network. Why is networking so important?
Networking is critical. And let me just say why. Networking gets the lawyer out into an area where they can interact with other lawyers or potential clients. It gives them an opportunity to hear what is happening out there in the field. It gives them an opportunity to join a committee, become known in one or two networking groups. The relationships that are built become invaluable because once people see you and know you, and this cannot be done by the phone, this has to be done consistently on a regular basis to earn the trust of people that you want to network with and engage with. I always suggest young attorneys, young professionals, start working on building your book now. That book, your worth, is your book. Mid-level attorneys who are not on the partner track and want to be on the partner track, they have to put themselves in a position where they're seen and they're valued and their insights are positioning them for the next level in their career. And for partners already bringing in the work, being rainmakers.
And lawyers, it's laws, and what you're saying applies to any kind of professional firm. It's always important to keep your name out there, to show you're knowledgeable, you're cutting edge. You're there to help businesses. You're there to help organizations. You're there to help individuals prevent and resolve their legal problems. You know, some of the commercials on TV by lawyers don't really address that, but you want to show you're knowledgeable, you're concerned, and you can help nip these problems in the bud, hopefully. What are some other activities? And even if you don't have the smallest book of business, you can try to help the colleagues. You can try to help the law firms, and maybe you're high tech. Maybe you can do networking online or in person to help promote someone else at the firm and thereby enhance your value to the firm.
You want to build credibility, whether you're doing something public relations oriented or something business development oriented. You want to always build credibility with your colleagues, with your peers, with other industry people. So yeah, always offer to help. Always take on more responsibility than is asked of you. Always be the solution, be the answer to the solution. If somebody's having a problem and you don't know how to help them, maybe just even going over there and saying, I hear that you're struggling with this. Let's see if we can brainstorm something. That will raise your credibility, your willingness. You will be thought of as a person, a team player, somebody that wants to help, and it will pay off. It will pay off in the long run.
I just want to remind our listeners that we're talking to Amy Delman. She's the head of her own PR firm. And as you've heard, she's very involved in promoting lawyers and other professionals and helping them and guiding them. And she's giving ideas that you might be able to do on your own, or you might be able to do with the help of a PR person in your firm or a PR person like Amy Delman. And you're listening to Law You Should Know here on 90.3 WHPC, the voice of Nassau Community College. If you've missed any part of the program, or you want to tell someone else about it, just go to the website, nccradio.org. Amy, what are some other ways that people can connect with the community, show they're caring people? What about either organizing or participating in charity events, just to show they're part of the community, to support a trade organization, to support the charitable work of their clients? Why is that so important for the parties all around?
Goodwill is very important. That's a key component of public relations. You want to be out there sponsoring the town where your company is based, their little league or other sports things. You want to go to different places of worship and offer to speak. You want to, if your client has a cause, let's say it's cancer, and why can't you have a firm-wide relay for life event? Supporting charities, it does more than just feel good. It lets your employees bond. It helps you retain talent, but it also helps you attract talent. Because a lot of millennials now want to work for companies where their values are aligned with theirs. So the more community involvement your firm has, the more easily you will be found by people looking to bring their services or possibly working for you or referring you.
And you can also support the activities of your clients.
Mm-hmm.
Show them you care about them in ways outside the law. And it's a good way also to meet the captains of industries, people you might not be able to just call up or meet at an event, but you're meeting them through the networking or doing networking through this charitable event, maybe helping to run it, maybe sitting on the board of that charity. But it's giving you an opportunity to connect with them you would not otherwise have. What about the importance of trade and other professional organizations as a way to meet other potential clients and show off your expertise?
That is very important because lawyers refer lawyers. And if it's imperative to know as many lawyers as you can in as diverse in a range of practice areas and they know who you are and your practice areas because that's how you are going to get referred for work. So be part of the New York law.
Well, let's say Chamber of Commerce, the local Chamber of Commerce or some kind of trade group.
Yes, in New Jersey, they have the NJSBA, which is the New Jersey Law Business Association. And the lawyers that I represent speak there and they do webinars there and they get very well known.
And when you're sitting around with these people, you can just ask them what their problems are, their challenges, their concerns. You may then relate. You had similar challenges. Your clients had similar challenges. Here's how you helped resolve it for them. Here's information on my website, so they can get a taste of how you are knowledgeable and a problem solver. You mentioned earlier that law firms and other professional firms should lecture, should sort of have a speakers bureau, should publish. What are the things along those lines and why are they important?
Definitely write articles. Write for the New York Law Journal, write for, any type of place, anything that you read, look for places to write for where your clients will read it. That's the most important.
And an op-ed piece doesn't look like an ad, and it's something, and, there might be a local business paper, there might be a trade group paper, it might be a parent organization paper. Every charity has their newsletters. And again, it's showing you're knowledgeable. And of course, you can send this to all your clients. You can post the article on your website and use it to just show, not just you think you're knowledgeable, but this other organization published it, sort of verifying that you're a knowledgeable expert.
That brings up an important point. Every firm should have an email blast list where they can send their correspondence, media clips, newsletters to their referrals, clients, respective clients. That is a great way to interact.
But also make sure it contains some useful information. It's not. It's more than just a PR. It's valuable information. You don't have to give away the kitchen sink, but give some tips that may be of interest. Amy, tell us about your website and what information is on there that may be valuable to lawyers and other professional people.
Okay, my website is amydelmanpr.com. On the website are all sorts of blog posts about my clients who have been quoted, what they've talked about, the suggestions that they have given on an entire variety of issues. There's also articles that have been quoted in that talk about how lawyers can help get their name out there, accountants. It's amydelmanpr.com.
And that's AMYDELMANPR.com. And if you missed any portion of this program or you want to tell someone else about it, just go to the nccradio.org. Amy, any final thoughts on why PR is so important to lawyers and other professionals?
Credibility. It's the only way you're going to get credibility. It amplifies every message your firm is trying to get out.
And it also helps you stand out. There may be many lawyers on TV. There may be many knowledgeable lawyers out there, but you want to show you're knowledgeable, you care, this is how you solve a problem or prevented a problem by giving information about potential problems. And as you mentioned, there are many seasonal ones, and showing how with a little help from you, you can help them prevent the problem or at least make the best of the situation should they find themselves confronted with one.
Cool.
And I think you do that as a PR person. You're showing people how the public relations problem, the information gap, what people don't know about lawyers or accountants or engineers, how that gap can be breached, and people can be connected with the wealth of your knowledge and information and of the professional firms.
I position my clients so that they are in a position to educate the public. That's the most value, because they're the ones. I'm not an accountant or a lawyer or an engineer. I position them so that they have the venue to educate and help and try to prevent.
So every conversation you have, every networking event or activity you do should have that in mind. Try to educate the public about their potential problems or those of their family or client or neighborhood.
And don't be afraid to turn to an advisor when you need them. Even if you're not sure you need them, make that call, because there's lots of money on the table if you don't go to the right advisor.
They can be busy with their professional practice or practicing law, and while you do this PR work for them, and it won't take away from them doing their professional work.
Oh, no. Yes, that's correct. This is their core competency, is that what they do. What we do is we're behind the scenes. We are constantly researching, bringing ideas to the table. The only time we take up is informational gathering meetings.
I'd like to thank Amy Delman, the head of Amy Delman Public Relations, serving the New York and New Jersey area, for being our guest on Law You Should Know. If you missed any part of the program, feel free to tell someone else about it by going to nccradio.org. And of course, we have many other programs there about the law. And please join us at this same time next week for another program on the law on 90.3 WHPC, the voice of Nassau Community College in Garden City, New York.